Emma Roberts, Nepo baby, diva, mean girl. The internet has a lot of labels for her, but what's actually real and what's just a reputation snowball? Emma Roberts. For some people, she's an underrated actress with iconic pop culture roles. For others, she's the definition of a mean girl, in interviews, on sets, in real life, allegedly. So what's the truth? Is she actually difficult, or did the internet just decide she's the perfect villain? Today, we're doing a reputation deep dive. Not a trial, not a hit piece, just what people say, what's been publicly reported, and why the Emma Roberts discourse is always so intense. And at the end, I want you to tell me which side you're on. Misunderstood, or actually problematic. Let's start with the label that follows her everywhere. Nepo baby. Emma comes from a Hollywood acting family. Her dad is actor Eric Roberts, and her aunt is Julia Roberts. So yes, she had access to an industry that's basically built on access, and I get why people react to that. In entertainment, connections can open doors, but here's the question that matters more. Once the doors open, can you stay in the room? Because fame doesn't stick for years from a last name alone. People might show up once out of curiosity. They don't keep showing up if there's nothing there. Emma's career is interesting because she didn't build her brand around serious prestige actress energy. She came up through teen projects and mainstream roles, then moved into darker, sharper characters. And even if you don't think she has the strongest filmography in the world, she has something genuinely valuable in pop culture, an image people remember. Her characters, especially in things like Scream Queens and American Horror Story, became memes, aesthetic edits, iconic quote compilations, Halloween costumes. That matters. She's not just in projects. She's part of the internet's pop culture memory. Now, here's where the reputation snowball really starts. Emma is very convincing as a sharp, cold, sarcastic character. The kind of character who smiles while insulting you, and audiences do this thing, especially online, where they merge the actor with the role. If you play mean too well, people stop saying she's acting and start saying, no, that's just her. So, if a rumor pops up later about being rude or difficult, it doesn't land like a surprise. It lands like confirmation. Over the years, there have been recurring stories that Emma can be not the easiest person to deal with, stories about being demanding, dismissive, rude, whatever version you've heard. But here's the tricky part. A lot of celebrity bad behavior spreads through anonymous posts, vague insider talk, or a short clip with no context. And once someone has the diva label, every new story gets interpreted through that lens. Even neutral behavior becomes attitude. A bad day becomes a personality trait. Now we get to the part that did the most long-term damage to her public image, because this isn't just about vibes or rumors. In 2013, multiple outlets reported that Emma was arrested in Montreal after an incident involving her then-boyfriend, Evan Peters. Reports said police responded to a disturbance call, she was taken into custody, and later released. I'm being careful with wording because we're not inside that relationship, and we don't have the full story. But what we do know is that once something like this becomes public, it can permanently reshape how people see you. For a lot of people, that headline became the moment they stopped viewing Emma as just an actress and started viewing her as a problem. And this is where celebrity culture gets messy. Social media turns real life into a never-ending courtroom. People pick a side, build a narrative, and then every new detail gets used to support that narrative. Sometimes that's accountability. Sometimes it's entertainment disguised as morality. Then years later, a new wave of criticism appeared when actress Angelica Ross, who worked with Emma on American Horror Story 1984, publicly accused Emma of making transphobic remarks on set and mocking her voice. After the backlash, Ross later said Emma called to apologize, and she acknowledged the apology while still emphasizing accountability. This is one of those moments where people split hard. Some say a private apology isn't enough. Others say at least she apologized and owned it privately. Others ask why it happened in the first place. Either way, it adds a heavier layer to the reputation, not just mean, but potentially harmful in a way that's bigger than personality. And then there are the viral clips, little moments where the internet debates whether she was rude to staff, to security, in an interview, in public. I'm not saying clips are meaningless. I'm saying it's kind of wild how quickly the internet can turn a few seconds into a permanent personality verdict. So here's my honest takeaway. Emma Roberts' public image is a mix of three things. 1. Her background and the Nepo narrative. 2. The fact that she plays mean characters so well that people fuse the role with the person. And 3, real public controversies that made the criticism stick. But I want to unpack those 3 things a little more because when you zoom out, it's not just about Emma. It's also about how we, as viewers, build celebrity characters in our heads. First, the Nepo narrative. People hear Hollywood family and immediately fill in the blanks. Easier auditions, better connections, bigger second chances. And yeah, access is real. But what gets lost in the Nepo conversations is that we often turn it into a moral verdict instead of a structural critique. Like, the existence of nepotism is an industry problem, but the internet tends to compress that into, so this person must be talentless, entitled, and annoying. And that's not automatically true. It can be true sometimes, sure, but it's not guaranteed. The label becomes a shortcut, and once a shortcut exists, people stop looking for nuance. Second, the mean girl effect. Emma's whole screen presence is sharp. She's really good at playing characters who are witty, cold, and kind of cruel in a polished way. And the internet loves that archetype. Until it doesn't, because the same audience that quotes those characters also punishes the actress if they start believing it's her real personality. It's like we want the fantasy of the mean girl on screen, but we want the actress to be sweet and grateful and likable off screen. And if she isn't, even for one moment, people go, see, I knew it. Third, the controversies. This is where it stops being just about vibes. When serious allegations or public incidents enter the story, the public doesn't treat them like separate events. They become a filter over everything. People start rereading old interviews, old clips, old moments, and interpreting them through the worst possible lens. And sometimes that's because the person actually has a pattern. Sometimes it's because humans love a clean narrative. Hero or villain, angel or monster, good celebrity or bad celebrity. A complicated person doesn't fit the algorithm. And this is the part that I think is uncomfortable but important. The internet doesn't just react to celebrities. It needs them to play roles. We treat famous people like they're characters in a show we're all watching together. There's a storyline, there's conflict, there's redemption arcs, there's cancellation arcs, and once you've been cast as the villain, every new headline just becomes a new episode. Now, does that mean Emma is innocent of everything people say? Not necessarily. That's the point. 2 things can be true at the same time. Someone can deserve criticism for specific actions, and the internet can still exaggerate and flatten them into a one-note caricature. Accountability is real, but so is dogpiling. Critique is valid, but so is misinformation. And we rarely separate those cleanly online. Also, and I want to say this carefully, there's a gendered layer to the way we talk about women in Hollywood. Because diva, difficult, mean, cold, unlikable. Those words are used for men too sometimes, but they stick to women differently. A man can be intense or a perfectionist. A woman becomes a nightmare. So whenever we're having these conversations, I think it's worth asking, are we reacting to something real, or are we reacting to the fact that she doesn't perform likability the way people want? And then there's another question. What do we actually want from celebrities? Do we want them to be role models? Do we want them to be entertainers? Do we want them to be morally perfect because if the standard is perfection, literally nobody survives it. But if the standard is they can do whatever, that's also wrong. So maybe the best standard is be clear about what you're criticizing and why. Criticize specific actions, not just vibes. Don't treat rumors like facts. And don't turn someone's entire existence into a meme court case. Now I want to hear from you. Respectfully, no fan wars. Do you think Emma Roberts is genuinely misunderstood? Or do you think her reputation exists for a reason? And if you think it's both, tell me what percentage. Like, is it 70% internet narrative and 30% her own actions? Or the other way around? And if you want a part 2, we can go even deeper. Why some celebrities get forgiven fast and others get permanently labeled, even when the public only has part of the story. We can talk about how apology culture works online, why private apologies don't satisfy people anymore, and why we're so quick to treat a single clip as a full personality test. And we can also talk about something I find fascinating, how casting, aesthetics, and even the roles an actor takes can shape what we believe about them as a person.